All right, so we've just started recording. So we're now at week 4. Most people would have received an email from me. Apologies. Hello, Bronte. So Bronte's joined us this week. She's been away and sick, so she's got a bit of catch up to do. I've just issued a whole heap of vouchers. So the vouchers have been sent to your email address that was provided that you registered with. And just for noting, those vouchers do expire at the end of November. So it's one of those lovely things that they've got with us by providing the vouchers. There's unfortunately an expiry date. Sometimes the expiry date is on the booking. Sometimes it is actually on sitting the exam. So my recommendation is to use that voucher, book now, work towards a date. If you want to be able to change it or anything like that, you need to do so within 3 days, 3 business days. You'll get a warning, I think, about 5 business days before the exam. And if you do it within before the 72 hours, it's at no additional cost. So yeah, I think that it's $75 USD or something like that if you want to move it at very short notice. The money aside, it is sometimes very difficult to book exams. So the earlier that you can book the exam, the better. I've brought up the post, what I've put on the website for week 4. So big thanks to Kiva for jumping online and running tonight or this afternoon, or but well, it's kind of like brunch, but the opposite, dusk. So the exam topics, so this week is to cover a lot to do with those screen layouts. So in configuration and setup, we've got distinguish and understand the administration of declarative configuration of the user interface. So Kiva will be going through each of those. And objects, object manager and app builder. So I'll just quickly scan through those. So all of these, oh, that's not a link, I'll update that. And here's a couple of Trailhead modules. I will record this. I'll hand it over pretty quickly to Kiva and let him take control of the meeting. And I'll record it. Again, it will be a little bit like last week where there's a lot of content to cover in a short period of time. But you'll tend to find that once you understand the basics, there's a little bit of repetition in the way that Salesforce does its thinking. So there's patterns that once you learn the patterns, you really do know where to look. So without further ado, I'll stop sharing and I'll hand over to Kiva. I've just allowed you to share screen, Kiva.
Yes. Hello, everyone. My name is Kiva. I'll be going over screen layouts, as Kel said earlier. So I've just got my developer org that I've spun up, and we're here at the home screen, which is in itself a screen layout. It's a Lightning app page. The first item in the menu is the app menu, which we can find in the app launcher over here, if it was load. And so here we can find a list of our Lightning apps, which are full of all these tabs, which will take us to our objects. We're able to view all the tabs, or all the apps in our org here. But we're also actually able to order and hide some of these apps if we didn't want certain profiles or groups of people in our org to see them. So, for example, if we had some service users, we could hide all of these non-service apps from them and all the non-sales apps from our sales users. In a similar fashion, we can hide all these items here, which is just a complete list of items in your org, and that's handed on the profile level, which I believe we're covering in security in a maybe next session. I will show you how to hide and order things in the app menu. I'll just go through some of the other things we can find on the overarching page. Up here we have Salesforce Help, which has plenty of useful links, such as Trailhead or support articles. You can search through those. Also, if you have a product called Salesforce Knowledge, you're also able to write your own articles for these pages, and it'll come up under help for this page. So it can be good to build your own sort of internal knowledge base if you have that product available. Let's go on and show you in the setup page how to hide and order the app menu. So I'll just find our app menu. And here it'd be very simple if we wanted to hide all our non-sales apps. And this again this is for the overarching org. However, if we wanted to do this on a profile level, that can be done as well. And we can reorder some of these fields. So that when we save and go back to our setup, we should have our Sales Console is now at the top, and we are missing some of the apps that we had there before. Maybe a better example if I hit all of them. It's just now we can see we just have our one app if we only wanted people to be seeing one app. Up here, we on our overarching page, which follows us through at all our tabs, we have a global search. And here we can search through all of the records we have in Salesforce. So that might be a contact search up here, or it might be any of our objects. That can be a handy way of from anywhere in your org, navigating to a specific record if you know what you're looking for. However, if you know that your record you're looking for is in a contact, I'm just going to change this app. I'm not a fan of the layout of the console app so much for the non-console ones. Sorry. Anyway, so if we, for example, knew that we were looking for a contact and we couldn't see it in our list view. Say, for example, we hadn't updated our list view, which is this section here, and we were stuck on the default recently viewed app and we couldn't find anyone, but we knew Andy Young was a contact that we were looking for. In our global search, we could, instead of searching through everything, we could just search through the contacts. We wouldn't have all the other clutter of the other objects in there. I'll move on to our record details page and how that differs from the lightning page or the lightning layout. And so a good way, so the record details page controls what you can see about the record. So for example, it's got all the details of the contact. And I can edit what is displayed here from the cog and going edit object. And if we follow this link, you can see that you can also get here by the startup menu and toggling over the app object manager. Then you can click the object you would like, contacts, but it's got all of them here. And so to edit the record details page, we go to page layouts and edit them in. And here you have all the fields that are on display. And up here, we can see all the fields that we can display. These grayed out ones are positioned on the layout already. And if you press them, it'll locate where they are. And these non-grayed out ones are fields that we have that aren't actually on our page. We're also able to add in sections to our page layout. We can decide whether we want to see them, when we would like to see them, whether that wants to be only on the details page or only on the edit page, or both. For example, if there was a couple of fields that were very important to be filled in on the editing, on creating of a page, but you didn't really want to section them out on the details page, you might put in these important fields down the bottom of the page. And when you save, it can take many minutes to actually be able to see your changes in the contacts page or on the record page that you've just changed. The way is doing Control-Shift-R, which will refresh the page and clear all the cache that the web page had already loaded. It's the best way of hopefully getting it to refresh. And here, as hasn't, we'll give it a bit longer, and I'll go over how to change the lightning page, which is into the edit page, and the record details is the what, and the lightning is the where and how you see. So in here, there is a whole heap of standard items that you can add to your page. And there is too many to go over, so it would be good for you to go and look through them in your own time. However, this thing here is, say, tabs, and you can say, oh, maybe I want to add in some more details. And this could be the engagement journey that a contact is on. And here you could add in some more components. We can go over to the details page, and we can see that this is our record details page. And if, for example, we wanted this to always be visible, we could, and not hidden in the tabs, we could move it out and say now it's underneath the tab. You can move all these things around. Maybe you want the related quick links to only be visible in your related tab. Yeah, so you can move it all around. You're also able to change the template that your page is. Maybe you want it to be a header with 3 regions, maybe 2 equal regions. Generally, by default, it's 1 main region and a right sidebar. But we can change that to 2 equal regions. We've got mappings. You're also able to have to view what this page might look like. It defaults to desktop, but you can check what it might look like on a phone for your phone users. This can be very handy to do if you're using mobile at your company, to just make sure that it's going to look okay before you hand it out, or before you activate it across your org. You can also have 2 different pages set for, like, one for desktop and one for phone if you wanted to. I won't be able to show you that because I'm on my desktop and I can't show you my phone. Anyway, if we were to save this, we can activate it, and here you would activate whether you wanted it to be across the whole org, across all apps. Maybe you just want it to be a specific app that it's on. So sales users will have one view of the contact, but a service user might have a different view, and your marketing might again have a different view. It's a good way to section off, to give your users the information that they need at the forefront, and sort of filter out the information that they don't need. And you can also set this for like the record type, which I'll go over, I believe. Or the profile. So, for example, if you had you were storing medical records on your contact, and you only wanted medical professionals to see it, but not your sales users, you could have a profile, one that was sales users, one that was medical professional, and no, that is a what you see. That would be on the details page. However, you could have them set up differently again to put other information at the forefront.
Kiva, before you go, with everybody, Kiva's been doing some study for the App Builder exam, so a lot of these topics are fresh in his mind. Why do you think the related is in front of detail? Why is that the default in the screen layout? Have you come across that? Because I never found out why.
I'm also not too sure why it's brought to the forefront of it. I believe maybe because if you're going to a contact that you're going to create an opportunity from them, you're talking to them and you're on the phone with them, and maybe you're going to take an online donation from them. And if that is the case, it's very easy to just create a new related object from there. Or maybe you want to see or you want to attach some notes to them, or But the actual reason I also couldn't speak to.
I see you.
I'm just finding in some of the study and in the actual practicalities of the new system that I'm working at the moment, that the details are kind of created one-off and then adjusted only when something's changed, but the related seems to be more about actions that you know, like job creation, opportunity creation, campaigns. It seems like that's sort of where the work happens, because the details are generally you set it up and then you make minor changes, whereas the related seems to have more action. that's just my experience so far, and I'm totally new, so I don't know if that's right.
And that's probably where, because we're used to setting things up, we're checking the data quite often rather than the day-to-day usage.
Did I import that field correctly?
Yeah, you guys are probably the opposite. The work's getting done and related. The details are the one-off. Yeah.
I find that's the same thing, Clancy. I think, you know, for us, that's kind of the point of entry into anything related to that person. So if you're going to find the person, you can go, it's kind of the lobby for everything else you're about to do with them or that record. So it kind of makes sense that it's there and up front and center, because it's kind of like the exec summary, and then you get into the details. Yeah. That's
what I reckon, but I'm just guessing. But that's what it looks like.
And some of the things Salesforce does is just because that's the way Salesforce works, and there's a reason, but it's hidden from all of us.
Cool. I continue on my long rant. Also on this page, we can see that this section up here is the compact layout, is what it's called, and this is a good place to put any heavily used field, so you can stay on your related tab, but you know that Andy Young's working at Dickinson PLC, and he's in operations, and what his phone number and email are. And this is also updatable. So from the object manager, you'll be able to find your compact layouts on the side, and you can create a new compact layout. You can't change the standard one, because it's the standard one. And here you can select what field you would like to display, and just keep in mind that the first one you do will be this big one here. So if I, for some reason, wanted to put in an account name, or I didn't know that and I put account name in there, you would find that Dickinson PLC would be the large field. We can also assign our compact layouts to different so you can, you can set a reset. You need to reset your compact layout to your new one. Sorry for fumbling over my words there. Now, when we hit refresh, we should be able to see that our compact layout has changed. Of course, it hasn't. It does take forever sometimes. However, I should be able to show you the details page. No, but also it's not updated. Yes, like I was saying, Salesforce can take a long time to implement changes to the record details page and the compact layout. So hopefully when we come back to it later, it will be there. But anyway, from our page layouts, as I was saying before, we could have different page layouts for your different users. So here in my developer org, they've come up with a marketing, sales, and support, and they can have completely different fields, and you can manage your page layout assignments from this button. And here you got your page layouts versus your profiles. What you could also have is more record types. So maybe you have a record type that might be customer and one that is employee, and you'd want you want different information on both, and maybe you have one that's patient, and again you would want different fields. Let's make a couple, and here you'd select whether it's available. So you might not want to make the customer record type available to anyone that isn't a sales user, And in your org, I imagine you wouldn't have this many profiles. I've got, in your developer org, they give you lots and lots of goodies to play around with. Hopefully yours is a bit cleaner in your orgs, or your work orgs. Your developer orgs will be the same. And here you'll select your standard layout for this profile. Oh, sorry, for this record type. And if you want this record type to always have the same one, you could just set it here. Or if you wanted each individual profile to have a different layout, then you can select this one and here, change them all individually if you'd like. On the record type, you're also able to control pick list values. So for example, if we're on an account and you had industry and you had an account type that was customer account and one that was one was like an OEM dealer, you could have different values for the industry. So if you might have, just you can separate your industries out. And here I'll show you how you can do that just by pressing edit on it. And in this case, we're doing lead source. So we might know that for our business, we don't take website. We don't have a website because we're a poor company. Sorry if no one has a website. That was pretty harsh. And then maybe you know that phone inquiries is how you get most of your business, and you can set your default up to phone inquiries, for example. Otherwise, you can just leave it as none. And then we can go through and set all of those as different ones. Might just create one other customer, one other record type. And so we've got multiple record types. When we do the page assignment one, we have now a matrix. What is the standard? What is for customer? What is for the patient? We can edit our assignments. Change these ones, and then we can change them to the different layout. And so you can really provide a more personalized view for the different users, but also the different types of, there might be contacts or other objects based on their record type. And so, for example, you might have an opportunity, or you might take memberships, and you might sell, go out and seek out sales from a new business, and you might have completely different stages. One might be for your memberships, or for a renewal of a membership might be contact, and we'll contact the member and whether they are going to renew or not, so close one and close lost. And you might, but for you have prospecting and valuations and initial proposals for a different one for your when you're looking for your sales. Quickly,
Can I ask you something there? Sorry to interrupt. Yeah. Have you guys found that, if you're talking about certain entries available in pick lists and being able to suppress things and presenting users or different groups of users with essentially different interfaces, does that, do you want to be a bit cautious about to what extent you do that? Because I can imagine, you know, if I'm in sales and I'm talking to support and we have different views on the same kind of records, it could cause a bit of, you know, confusion and miscommunication.
Yeah, I agree. And you don't want to, say if you're on your contact, you don't want to be limiting information just for the sake of it. But if one of them is, say for example, you're looking at medical information and you have a medical diagnosis, you don't want people from sales knowing that, and that's where you would remove it from the page layout. But also that isn't necessarily a one fix all. It's not a fixes all, because just because you've removed it from a page layout doesn't mean they can't access it. You know, they can still query it from Flow or from Data Loader if they really wanted to. So something we'll get into in following sessions. I believe it's the next one in security, and we'll look at field security, like individual fields and object security, which you'd want to do in tandem to removing from the page layout just when you have that sensitive information. Yeah, good question. Yeah, I'll quick go over search layouts while I'm here. Search layout is what you see, say, when we're searching for Andy Young up here in a global search, what fields we will see here. So if we decided that we really wanted to see some fields, so we wanted to see the mailing address, but we didn't really care about these ones, we can override those. Now, if we refresh here, we should have different. Yeah, and so we see these have changed at a much quicker rate than the page layouts. Yeah, so that's different. In Classic, you could also do things like add which like search filters, like which fields you could search on, which if you're using Classic, you'd want to add to. However, in Salesforce, or in Lightning, should I say, you're able to search off any field that is, well, you can search off any custom order number, any custom text field, any custom email address or website. You know, you can't search off formula fields at the moment. And I know in my exam there was a question about that. So you can't search off formula fields. However, coming in the next year or two, they're adding the ability to search for pick lists, which you can't at the moment. So formula pick lists, and formula text fields. But at the moment, you can't search on formula fields or pick lists. Also, there are some strange, there are some limitations around searching for certain standard fields. So, for example, yeah, so you can't search on email address on the contact, I believe. I was trying this out before. I thought it was very strange. Oh, that's a bad idea. Well, it's a bad example because that'll come up. Right, that's a tangent. I don't need to go down that route. I won't waste time. If we have time at the end, I'll come back to that. However, I will jump to list views because I know we have a lot to cover. So this is our list view. When you jump on a tab, it'll be the first thing you see, and it is just a list of all the records for that object. Well, it's a list of starting at 50 records for that object. And you can keep scrolling down and it'll filter more and more and more. And something that I can't show you at the moment because I've got all of mine, but say, for example, you had 200 contacts and you'd only loaded the first 50, and you wanted to search for a contact. Yes, say we're searching for, can't use John Smith is out. If I was searching for Greg Smith, and I knew we had Greg Smith, and what I see a lot of people do is they'll type in Greg Smith here, and they'll go, why can't I find Greg Smith? And it's because this one here is only actually searching under the records that have been loaded here. So if, I had 200 contacts and only 50 of them were populated, it would only search through those 50. So it's best when you're looking for a specific record and you can't find it here, that you use the global search, because that'll search through everything. You're able to, from this view, add filters. If your permission allows, you're able to add filters. It's best not to be doing it on things like all contacts, because that should be set as all contacts all the time. But if I wanted to have a new one, see which contacts were looking for one of the Uniteds, so United Oil and Gas or United UK or Corp, I could create a new field. New list view, should I say. And here I can determine whether I want this to be a private list view or share it with others, so all of them, or just a specific group. And if you go here, you can search by a role or role and subordinates, or all users, or just I.
So
and here,
sorry, can I just ask you again on that one, where if you've got a universal view, like you're looking at all contacts, that's not a user-specific thing. So if somebody can modify that filter there, they're actually going to modify that view for everybody globally?
Yeah. So generally what you would have is the permission to allow normal users to create their own list views, or so either you wouldn't allow them to create list views or edit them, or that they can create private ones and edit private ones, and then only leave the public ones to system admins, or maybe if you have an overarching manager, you would do that for them. But you want to make sure that people can't just go through and ruin your public list views for everyone.
Like I've been doing accidentally. Gotcha.
Yes, bad. Yeah. So the first one you always get is filtered by owner, and you can filter by my contacts or all contacts. And for me, it's going to just be the same because I'm the only user. But in the other orgs, you might want to see all contacts, or you can filter by a campaign name if you're doing running marketing campaigns and you want to see who was a member in those campaigns. And we can also add a whole range of filters, not just off the contact, but also off parents, like their account, and all these ones. And the fields that aren't prefaced by account : or object : those ones are just the contact fields, and it will let you know by prefacing it with the other object's name if it isn't on. Okay, cool. Here we've got a whole list of things: equal to, not equal to, or contain, which is a good one for strings, which I'll use to get all the Uniteds. And you could also add in some filter logic. So if we wanted to find, all the people that were in United, or we wanted to find, say, all the CEOs or CFOs, do that and add a filter logic that was 1 or 2, if we would like. So then when we saved, we can see that we've got all the United Oil and Gases, and we have this one CFO that isn't from United Oil and Gas, because that meets our filter logic. Also able to change which fields are shown here from the cog. So we can clone and rename and change the sharing settings. But the best one is selecting the fields to display. So we might not care who owns the contact, and we might not care what their email address is, but we might really want to know what their mailing address is. Then we can see that we have that here. There are also a couple of other views. This is just the tabular list view. First, I'll show you that we can add charts as well. We can add a chart to our list view, and might say, break it down by which account they are. There's not a whole lot of charts available for you. Not anything like, say, reports and dashboards, but if you just wanted a quick little look, we can add a chart and change what those are. We also have these list view buttons here that we can control from. We can control from here, and in the buttons and links and actions tab, and that one, we can add actions and add them to. The actions happen at the record level, so at the individual record, and then you can add buttons to the list view. And you'd add a button or a link, and you'd say, I want that to be a list button. Anyway, I don't think that's important. Not to the exam, or not to my section. So, sorry for going off. Anyway, other list views that we can do. You can have a table, Kanban, and split view. I think the table is the best all-rounder, and that's the one that you should be using if you're looking for one record, and then you want to, if you're looking for an overarching view of everyone, say the one we're just in, where we're looking at United Oil and Gas or CFOs, and then I say, I want to look at this person. And I don't care about the others. If it's either of those, then that's, in my personal opinion, the best. Although that is a personal choice that you might find others are better. The other ones are split view. This one is good in my opinion, and is the default for tasks, where you can go through and you get not much information, but you go, oh yeah, cool. This is the overview for this person. Then this is the overview for the next person. And you can go through and cycle through them. And so if you've got a big long task list, it can be really good to go, what is this task? Cool, that's what it is. Check, I've done this one. And what's the next one? Check, done that one. What's the next one? So you can cycle through them quite quickly, although you're limited at the total information you can see across a large number of records. And the last one, which is best used on things like opportunities or cases, for example, is this Kanban view that I did exactly what I was saying not to before, and I changed the standard one, the recently viewed. Yeah. So if I was to go to all, and I'm in my Kanban view, and you can see that I've, well, by default for the opportunities, it will put your stages along the top, although you can, so you can section off the Kanban by any pick list value. But the most important thing is to remember that it has to be on your page layout. So if you've got a, if you have a pick list field and it's not on your page layout, then you can't sort by that on your Kanban. So just make sure that it's on there. The best thing about this one, and say for cases, if you have new in progress, completed and closed, is that you can just pick up these ones and say, yep, that's in the next one now. Or no, this one's no longer in proposal. It's actually, we hit a roadblock and now it's in value proposition, or proposition. And you can see that these.
Sorry, does that change the status on the actual, like, you know how you can go in and actually change the status? Moving it change the status as well? I'm assuming.
Yeah, so just bring this one across University of AZ installations, and on our details we can see that we're in stage value propositioning. And then if we were to go, the roadblock's gone, we're back at the proposal, and we refresh our page, because it's very important to refresh. Then we can see that our path is going along to proposal and price quote, and on the stage, it's the proposal and price quote.
Awesome, thank you.
We'll update that in real time.
Kayla, on the back of that, what happens if you've got a workflow or some sort of restrictions, or like flow or triggers set up so that it prevents you from advancing past certain stages without somebody checking it, approving it, something happening? What happens in the Kanban board? Do you get an error, or does it just not land where you want it to land? Or is that, yeah.
So the validation rules, they occur whenever you try and save a record. And when you're moving these records here, you're telling Salesforce that you want to change this value and then save it. So if I had a validation rule on this stage that I needed it to be approved, and I was just like, oh, I'll move it in just to be sneaky. It would have a red triangle here saying you can't enter this stage, and then whatever you defined that validation rule to equal.
Okay.
If
so basically it won't take, and it'll be clear to the user that it hasn't worked. Yeah.
If your error comes from, say, a process, which it's running a process, and then it's hard to give an example. It will, if you have error handling in your process, that error handling will show up and you'll get the error message. But if you don't have any error handling, it'll just go bow, and like you go back there, and it will probably give you some long unruly error message as to why, or it might give you nothing. I honestly haven't come across that scenario. It's good to just put error handling in the process, especially if you're going to be updating them from outside of the record detail page or that process automation.
That's good advice. Thank you.
And so we can change what the Kanban settings are, and I'll continue doing the big bad, and I won't continue doing the bad. I will very easily clone list view, and I'll just call copy of all opportunities. I'll swap over to my Kanban. And you'll also notice that we can't actually use list view here in the opportunities, as it's it's really not relevant, and you wouldn't want to be just going through like that. You want to be spending that time inside the opportunity, getting it right, or in a far superior view, such as the Kanban, where you can see them and move them across. Anyway, we can go into our Kanban settings here, and here we can summarize, change what these group totals are, and we might say expected revenue, which will take into account forecasting. And then maybe you want to group, I'll do one at a time, because grouping by anything else will just look a bit silly. So we can see that our values have changed in line with the percentages. So with our earlier ones being less likely to close, their expected revenue is less. But also I can group by, say, if I wanted lead source, we could also filter by, or group by that as well. And we can see it's almost them and none, because this is just test data. But say, for example, or I might know, maybe I've been lazy and I haven't been doing it, but I might know that this one was from the web, this one was from phone inquiry. And then you can change the lead source on these opportunities like this as well, if you wanted to. Although lead source is something you should have figured out, and auto filling, yeah, that's how you change the Kanban settings for a list view. Cool. I'm making okay time. Themes. Theme is it can be org-wide, and it can be on the Lightning app level. So for example, on the Lightning app, I might decide I want to change what this logo here is. I don't actually have any logos ready. Oh yeah. Oh, 212, that's not the right. Sorry, just bear with me. This might just be another tangent. Cool. So anyway, to change the theme of an app, you will, a Lightning app, you will type in your app manager. So when we edit this, okay, needs to be a custom Lightning app, and here we can set the image and branding. So I might decide that I want to put in a new logo, and I want it to be green. Sorry, Cal, for not getting the right 221 green. I did my best.
Survive, mate.
Yeah. I'm getting fired tomorrow. That's what he doesn't tell you. And here we can, it's not that important. We can add in utilities like notes and like internet phone. If you had that in, and we can select what tabs we want into our app. Again, not relevant to my section. Which profiles can view it, and again, not relevant to my section. So if we were to go into, we're rushing through it. I have missed a step in my haste.
Just refresh, mate.
No, I don't think I maybe I put it for only certain people.
Well, that's the demo gods. They got you in the last couple of minutes, mate. So
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Okay. Available profile. Okay. That's fine. I didn't select any profiles in my haste. You should select a profile that can use your app. That was the problem. So cool. I can. Yeah. Now we go. Here we go. And we can see that the app is different, or the little icon is different. The heading is different, and this is no longer the Salesforce blue. We can also do quickly themes for the entire environment. I'll say new theme, and here you can change, say, this one here. When I'm not in an app, I'm just in setup, you can change the logos. It gets a bit funny if you don't have something that's exactly 600 by 112 pixels. So it's good to it's good to sort that out in like a photo editor first. Yeah, we can change the color, and we can also, for the loading screen, change what the brand is and all these other fields. Save it and activate. And we can see this really nice, perfect image here. But when we're loading screens, we can also after loading so slowly the whole time, my computer started loading quickly. So I can't show you. Okay. But now when you refresh, if it takes a long time to be loading your screen, instead of having the Salesforce Blue Cloud, which you might have seen in your testing, it'll have the image that you've put there, and that will be there instead for a nice personalized touch. 1 minute to spare. Anyone have any questions?
I got one, mate. The offline capabilities. Did you cover that?
No, I didn't do any mobile or offline. Oh, so close. So for mobile, they have new Salesforce Mobile Quick Start app, which you'll be able to run through like really quickly, and this will run you through everything you need to do to transform your page layouts from being good desktop apps and really bad mobile apps and it will handle most of this customizing yourself itself, and you'll select a couple of preferences along the way. You can then download the Salesforce app from the Play Store or App Store, that's what it's called. And you'll be able to log straight in if you have been given the permissions to. You can again then set up your page layouts and your lightning page layouts as we discussed earlier, and the navigation bar for the navigation setup for mobile. And in offline, in your settings, it'll be offline Salesforce on your phone that you have to look for, and you'll have an option, a list of 10, I think, of objects that you can save. That might be opportunities, contacts, cases, accounts, and you can just toggle them on, and your phone will cache them for when you're no longer online. You can't create new opportunity, you can't create new objects, but you can view them, you can edit them, and I believe you can delete them, and that will, when you online next, it'll upload them. But it's, yeah, you can't create any new records, and you can only see the ones you've before gone through and toggled on.
Thank you for answering my question.
Yes, excellent. Is there any other questions? No, I rambled through a lot of stuff.
Mate, that was excellent. Really comprehensive, and you know, the new Salesforce mobile app that you just shown, it's new. I didn't do it when it was my exam, so and yeah, thank you, mate. There was a couple of really good exam question tips in there as well, so thank you. What I will do is that I will just quickly recap that next week we will do automation. The Dreamforce announcement, oh, well, I'm pretty sure it was part of Dreamforce, may have implications down the track on the exam because some of the ways of doing the automation will change. However, we'll assume that there's no change to the exam. We'll run through. So next week we'll be running through the order of precedence and the different types of automation. I'll stop recording now, so if anybody wants to ask any questions not on the recording, they can do so. All right, thank you.